Well, over here too now, it's becoming a plague of cancer. That everyone knows people with turbo cancers now. It's we call it the weeping years. What's it like there? And talk about what you wanted to talk about now, about the thread of vaccines.
Can I start, Chris, with
Sure.
a bit of context? They said the shot stays in the arm, and they said it came from a wet market. And I followed Chris Martenson, I have for years, and so he focused in on the furin cleavage site and how that just didn't appear. It was completely phylogenetically um, out of place. And like we now know that the furin cleavage site is nested within a 18-19 nucleotide sequence, which was patented by Moderna, I think, in 2017. So even in 2020, it was pretty clear to me that this was a lab experiment gone wrong, or a deliberate construction, just from the furin cleavage site. And I think when it went beyond doubt with Moderna Gate, when we found that patent, because the odds of that is just infinitesimal. So then the virus and the vaccine are co-emergent. Now, so that's the first point. The second point I wanted to make was about it stays in the arm. Well, as an anesthetist, I'd studied.
Oh, no, it doesn't. I'll just jump in with no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Well, if you give a shot of intramuscular adrenaline, does it stay in the arm? No,
it's in your lungs and in your brain within 6 seconds.
You'll see the brain. You'll see the brain and the heart effects very, very quickly. That's why we give it intramuscularly. Now, if you gave a shot of saline, or sorry, even better, sterile water into the arm, you go and look at that under ultrasound. You come back a day later, or even a few hours later. It's absorbed. It doesn't stay there forever. These pools of and I knew that it would distribute to the total body water. In other words, it would go everywhere. It would go everywhere, just like a shot of, the limiting case isn't that these are great big protein molecules that will stay in the arm and not move. This was more like the limiting case of giving sterile water into the arm, which was going to be absorbed quickly and would go everywhere. And then the question is, well, what does it do when it goes everywhere? Well, we know that these are lipid nanoparticles. They're transfection agents. They're going to turn the self into non-self. They're effectively going to create an autoimmune condition. They're going to, and I think I've heard you talk about it a bit like someone who's had a transplant. Your body's going to start attacking the organs.
Yep. Well, I'll jump in here now. I think you brought
please.
us to that point, Paul. I appreciate it. And yes, that is how I phrased it in some of my talks. And I think we're both right on in that regard. We didn't train in transplant surgery, and we didn't train initially in immunology, you and I, but we've learned a lot about it. And we have understood that anything that is non-human or not even specific to your DNA, if you've got DNA elements especially, but DNA or RNA elements that are figured out in the lab, they're certainly not you. They all wave flags. Whatever cells that they go into, those cells are viewed by your huge immune system. The body's immune system is huge. It's from your bone marrow to your brain to every tissue in between. The immune responders, the lymphocytes of various types, the killer lymphocytes, the T lymphocytes, and all of the lymphocytes have the potential to go after something that is non-you. That's why if you get a transplanted heart, you must be on immune suppressant agents for months or even years, so that your body doesn't reject that lung transplant, or your body doesn't reject that kidney transplant or heart transplant. Well, by letting that shot go into our arms and letting that non-recognizable, non-human DNA RNA complex to go into your kidneys, heart, brain, and ovaries, well, then your kidney, heart, brain, and ovaries is being attacked in one fashion or another by your own immune system. And that's why so many of the surprise cancers and the surprise ailments that are happening in youngish, healthiest people, it's because their immune system is strong. The elderly are dying more of the clot episodes and the strokes and things like that. But the younger people are dying of immune consequence diseases, where their immunity has been knocked into the depths, and with no proper immune system. I'm misstating there. Just a moment. Yes, their immune system is being harmed, but in spite of the fact that your immune system is being harmed by the vaccine, the immune system is still around and is strong enough to do even more harm itself. Your own immune system is willing to harm that myocardium, and you get a myocarditis, which is an inflammatory, immune-caused myocarditis. It's not a germ-caused myocarditis. It's your body attacking yourself with a hyperimmunity, a hyperimmune attack against your heart. And your heart gives out 6 months later in your sleep, and you're 19 years of age.
That's happening here.
Yeah.
It's happening a lot.
It's happening in every country on Earth,
Yeah.
because the whole Earth has been foisted by an Earth-planned event.